Bonnie Rabikoff, and this week we are back in the kitchen at the Webster House. We begin our visit with their CEO, Kevin Hobbs. Kevin, thank you for inviting us back to the Webster House.
Well, thank you for being here.
So we've had a few changes, namely our chef, which we're going to talk to soon, but this is such a stunning venue. Let's talk a little bit about the history of the Webster House. It didn't begin as an antique store.
Not at all. Webster House was built in 1885 as a public school building. So it was a public elementary school until the 1930s. After the 30s, many different types of businesses and training center until Shirley Hellsberg purchased the property to restore it over 10 years ago.
Over 10 years ago, and she has been such a pioneer both with downtown development and a supporter of the arts and children and education, and this is just one of her many efforts. She restored it to be an antique store and a charming restaurant.
Right, a restaurant and gifts, and we do special events, we do weddings, we do a little bit of everything at Webster House.
Okay, one of the things you get to do, which is enviable, is you have to go shopping in Europe for this store. How do you approach doing that?
Well, it's quite a project, but we go and we hand select, Keitha Kaminsky and I. Keitha is the director and the antique expert, and we hand select everything that's in the shop, whether it's an antique in Europe or a beautiful gift from one of the many markets in this country.
I think what is special here is that the items are timeless.
Yes, our restaurant is lovely, and it's so enjoyable, and it's part of the whole experience at Webster House, and I think that's one of the visions that Shirley had when she bought this property and started the restoration, not only saving it for the city, but creating someplace that is truly, truly unique in Kansas City, and it's a total experience.
It's a total experience, and you also have a wonderful new neighbor, the Performing Arts Center. So how visionary was that to either before or after our world-class entertainment in our world-class Performing Arts Center, you can enjoy dining here?
Right, and we've been planning for years for the opening of the Kaufman, as the rest of Kansas City has also. But it was really thrilling last year for it to finally open in September, and guests can enjoy a beautiful dinner before the performance, and on Friday and Saturday nights we're open till after midnight, so people come back for dessert or to sit and chat with friends after a performance, and it's just a wonderful atmosphere.
It's glorious, actually. The whole feeling of this area and the commitment to restoring the heart of the city, I think it's been part of the renaissance of Kansas City.
When you think of the changes in downtown Kansas City in the last 10 years,
amazing.
It's monumental.
It is. And I'm proud of us. We have a great deal of heart. Shirley is definitely one of the people who have contributed to what we've been able to do. And we're in the library right now, but you can see as you walk through the space, beyond the beautiful antiques and the gift items, you can feel the history of the Webster House. And I want to thank you for all the work you do to preserve and maintain what is an extraordinary space in Kansas City.
We are thrilled to have Matt Arnold here as our executive chef. He joined us last summer, and he is originally a Kansas City native,
one of ours.
He came back from North Carolina, where he'd worked several years, to come back home, and we were just so excited to get him. His menu is innovative, it's delicious. I get compliments every day from people just stopping me to say what an enjoyable meal they've had, or how great dinner was before a performance. So it's really exciting to see what's happened.
We continue our chat with the chef here at the Webster House with their new executive chef, Matthew Arnold. Matthew, I'm looking forward to being in the kitchen with you.
Well, thanks so much. We're glad to have you here.
Okay. I always ask this question. Did you always know you wanted to be a chef?
Not entirely. You know, it initially had started out at a very young age as a type of hobby, really.
Okay.
You know, and that's just kind of how it started. And fortunately, you know, a light switch went on later on in life. I've been in the business a little over 20 years now, and so I spend about half of my time on the front of the house and half in the back.
I see. So restaurants, yeah, we knew that was happening. You just changed locations rather dramatically. So what kind of training has prepared you for what you're doing now?
Well, you know, I was fortunate enough to to have met a gentleman by the name of Don Fortell back in the late 90s, and you know, we had hired him at our restaurant up in Lawrence, and he was our executive chef. And seeing him come into our restaurant and watching him,
you got inspired, didn't you?
Exactly. And so I knew at that point I wanted to learn what that guy knew. I decided at that point I wanted to go to culinary school. So
where'd you go do that?
I ended up going to the New England Culinary Institute out of Montpelier, Vermont.
Very good.
Yes.
We have some wonderful chefs that have come from there. What was
a great
that
school.
experience like?
Oh, it was phenomenal. It was one of the best experiences of my life. You know, a lot of hard work.
Yep.
But you know, it definitely expedited my career and opened up a lot of doors.
And who were some chefs after that continued that inspiration for you?
I immediately went to work for Lydia Bastianich.
Oh, well.
And
She's
right
been
down
on
here.
in the kitchen, yep.
Yes. And worked for her on and off for about 5 years, and ended up
Wonderful lady. Yep.
yes, phenomenal, and ended up running her Pittsburgh store up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Lydia's there, and then also was very fortunate enough to have worked with Ben and Karen Barker of the Magnolia Grill in Durham, North Carolina.
Oh my goodness. So you went down south a little bit, got
Yes.
some comfort food, you know, inspiration.
Absolutely.
And how long were you there?
I was there for about 2 years.
So then you came back home.
Yes, back to Kansas City.
We love it when you come back home.
Yes, I was happy to come back, and it was really, you know, I'm really proud and happy for Kansas City to see what's happening, all the changes.
Isn't it
you know.
amazing?
It's incredible.
And you're part of that. And you're part of that now. Okay. So back to Kansas City, back home after having some extraordinary training and experience with great chefs.
Yes.
So tell me about your time here. We know it is difficult being a chef. You're on your feet. It's hot. It's hours. What keeps you inspired? What keeps you going?
You know, I think honestly, it's the guest experience. You know.
Okay.
And that's the biggest thing. You know, it's something. I've stated before. It's not like I'm even going to work in the day. You know, so that's how.
That's wonderful to be able to say that,
Yes.
regardless of what you do.
Exactly. So very, very fortunate and blessed in that way. So.
You've come up with some very exciting dishes, some of which we're going to make today. What's your creative process? How do you come up with a new dish?
Oh goodness, you know, for me it's a more methodical process, you know, and just a whole lot of thinking and you know, going over flavor profiles, you know, going over things that have worked in the past and obviously things that didn't work in the past.
Okay, but that's part of it. Is what doesn't work is as valuable as what does work for getting to the next step.
Sure. And one of the benefits too has been, you know, I've been able to live in different parts of the country, so you know, you understand food around New England and, you know, Dutch food maybe in Pennsylvania, then the whole southern thing as well. So, you know, knowing your clientele base and knowing the areas and the regions that you're in, you know, that plays a big part too.
It plays a big part too. Okay, so executive chef, you are more than just cooking. You provide the leadership back in the kitchen here at the
Yes.
Webster house. What is it you're wanting to impart to your cooks? Because at one time, an executive chef was that for you.
One of the biggest things that I try to do is praise, you know, and sometimes that's not always available in a kitchen, you know, and everybody has a different philosophy and a different approach.
Right.
But that's really important to me, you know. Obviously, trying to
That
still
reassurance.
Sure.
Yes.
Absolutely, because they do work very hard.
Yeah.
You know, and to try to get them to understand that you need to have a high care level and you need to carry yourself with integrity and an appreciation for, you know, the products that we use and those types of things. So, you know, that's what we try to focus on here.
So chefs say respect the food.
Yes, love the food.
Love the food. Love
Yes,
that
love
food.
the food.
Respect it and care for it.
Sure,
and
sure.
you taste that on the plate. What are we going to make today in the kitchen?
Well, we're gonna have 3 different items today. One is one of my
Okay.
favorites that we've had for a while, and it's a marinated goat cheese wrapped in phyllo.
Oh my.
And we serve that over a little bit of frisee, some wild mushrooms, a little bit of tomato, and some warm sherry vinaigrette.
I'm going to love that.
It's very tasty.
Okay, now then the next course will be?
But basically, it's going to be some scallops that we pan-sear, and we've taken basically a sweet onion sauce where we've char-grilled some onions, and we've basically cooked them with a little bit of bay leaf and a little bit of cream.
How nice.
Yes, and then we puree it into a sauce.
We forget that onion gets sweet when it is
cooked.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
It's got
Great depth of flavor.
It's got an amazing amount of sugar to it. So
Okay.
we also reduced a little bit of apple cider with it, and then we also have some locally produced from a local purveyor here, some fennel sausage that we add with it.
So we love hearing locally produced, and
Yes.
I know you're devoted to that as well.
Absolutely.
And what are we having for dessert, Chef?
For dessert, it's very tasty because I had some a little bit ago.
Just
but
to make sure.
Just to make sure,
Yeah.
and I put a big dent in it. So
Okay, I can help you too.
yeah, well, there's plenty to go around.
Oh, good.
But it's a brown sugar ice cream, basically with a hazelnut.
A biscotti with
Biscotti,
that?
yes, yes.
Okay. You know,
It's
we
basically-
have a celebrity taster coming in.
That's what I understand.
He is the CEO of the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art. And I always practice pronouncing his name is Julian Zugasagoitia.
Yes, that's
And he
quite a name.
loves food. He is very excited
great.
about this. So you and I have our work cut out.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we need to go back into the kitchen
That
and
sounds
start
good.
working. Okay? Why don't you come with us? We are in the kitchen at the Webster House with their executive chef, Matthew Arnold. We are prepared to make 3 courses
Yes.
for our celebrity taster. What is the first course?
The first one's going to be the goat cheese or marinated goat cheese wrapped in phyllo with some wild mushrooms, some frisee, some tomatoes, and a warm sherry vinaigrette.
Okay, chef, where do we begin?
Well, we begin right here.
Okay.
And what we do is we take about 2 ounces of goat cheese, and the thing I like about marinating cheeses is because it adds a whole different profile to them. So in this instance, what we've done here is we've just added a little bit of lemon zest, some thyme, and some black pepper.
I have to smell this. I just have to. Oh, heaven. So lemon zest, thyme, and black pepper, and you
A
put
little bit
it,
of olive oil too.
and a little bit of olive oil. And how long do you like that to marinate
I
before
like to let them sit overnight.
Overnight, all
Yeah.
right. So there's no confusion about what that's going to taste like.
Exactly.
All right, so this little guy's been marinating overnight. Now what are we going to do?
The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of phyllo, and it can be a little bit temperamental. The most important thing is that as soon as you get it out of the package, you want to lay it out flat and keep the remaining parts that you're not going to use covered with a damp cloth so they don't dry out, because they dry out very quickly.
And many of us buy this frozen or stored frozen, and just to remember to put it in your refrigerator and let it thaw overnight, but not so much
Exactly.
in the refrigerator till
That's the
okay.
best way.
All right, so this guy's ready to get all wrapped up. How are we going to do this? Let's take a peek at what clarified butter, just to remind us. It almost looks like oil.
Right,
And
correct.
oh, the flavor. It's great for scrambled eggs too.
It's good for scrambled eggs. It's great for sauteing mushrooms in too. I love it. That's my favorite way to saute
I'm
mushrooms.
going to do that the next time I saute mushrooms, just because I learned it from you.
So now we're just going to fold this over.
Huh?
Thirds. Lastly. Like that. And then we're going to lay our goat cheese down. We're going to cut it right here. And then we're just going to wrap it up.
How cute is that?
Leslie, just into
Like
a little
purse. almost.
into a little
There we
purse.
go.
If you did this at home at 350 or 375, it would take about 8 to 10 minutes. or
8
so.
to 10 minutes, and the goal is for it to be golden.
Nice and golden brown.
Okay, so now while he's in the oven cooking, what are we going to do?
Well, next we're gonna get ready to build the salad.
Now, are you using a light olive oil or extra? Or this
This is an
not
extra virgin.
This is extra virgin.
Yes.
Okay, so we want that because remembering that our mushrooms soak up all that flavor.
You want to watch it to where the oil will just start to shimmer a little bit and start to move on in the pan. And that's indicative of a hot pan and some hot oil.
And
So-
not till it's smoking. It's gotten
Right,
too
right.
hot if it smokes.
Exactly. You really don't want to saute anything once your pan is smoking like that, because then you've got burnt properties.
And
in the
I will
oil.
tell you, I've taken my pan off the fire, let it cool down, wiped it out with paper towel, and started over again. And it's better to do that than ruin your
Then
product.
exactly, because it'll give it a really off flavor to it. So let's give it a little test here and see.
Okay. I think that's important to do too, is the little test, because what do we want? Oh, we want that nice
You want
little
that little
sizzle.
sound, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to lightly season these.
And I noticed you didn't season them till just towards the
towards the
end.
end.
And is that kosher salt?
Yes.
A little fresh
And-
cracked
and
pepper?
a little bit of pepper.
There you go.
Correct. So we're going to shut our pan off here because we're ready to go.
All right.
I'm going to hit this with just a little bit of our vinegar.
Now, what kind of vinegar is this?
It's basically a sherry vinaigrette.
While the mushrooms were warm, you put the vinaigrette in there, and it just absorbed all those flavors.
Correct.
Fresh washed frisee and
Some cherry tomatoes.
yes.
And I also like to finish it with just a little bit of fresh thyme and some fresh parsley.
I have to smell. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Oh, and the warmth of the sautéed mushrooms is bringing all those flavors together.
Correct.
Oh.
Correct. So it's going to have a nice little bit of an acid profile to it. I'm going to lightly season it again.
Okay, on to the main course, Chef. We have 4 stunning scallops. How do you pick a scallop?
Well, you know, obviously, if you're going to the store to find them and they're purchasing in the store, you always want to smell the product before you purchase it.
Thank you.
Yes, it's very important.
And you get to do that. You're buying it, you're eating it, you're putting it in your body, and you get to smell it.
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
So it shouldn't smell like anything.
Nope.
Then you took off its little feet or whatever.
It's a little muscle that it attaches to its shell with. So you want to make sure you remove those
Before you cook
before
them.
you cook them.
So these little guys have had their feet removed.
Yes.
And how did you season them, please?
We just season with a little bit of salt and pepper.
The simplest thing, because they're
Simplest
wonderful
thing.
to begin with.
Yes, yes.
Oh, what are we going to do with these little guys?
Well, we're going to get them started right here in the pan. Our pan's nice
Okay.
and hot, I can tell.
Okay, and this was extra virgin olive oil.
Yes.
And I noticed that you're putting them seasoned side down.
Yes. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to turn around and season the other side of them too. We take a little bit of the first layer of moisture off them, which helps them saute to get a good sear
So
on them.
are you recommending that before you season them, you might want to pat them dry?
Yes.
All right, and that keeps, it gives that nice caramelized, and what are you putting in the pan now?
And this is our fennel sausage that we got from Johnny's Cabuzzo here in Kansas City. It's a local purveyor and local product.
So the scallops and the fennel sausage are cooking away, and
Yes.
now what are we doing?
Now we're going to put in our little pot here a little bit of our sweet onion cream.
And talk about how you make it, please.
Well, we take some yellow onion and we slice them at maybe about a ½ inch thick, and we get a nice char on the grill with them first, the onions, and we turn around, we put them in a little pot with some bay leaf and just a little bit of cream, and we just cook them down, and then we just puree them.
So what we're going for is a kind of a golden color on our sausage, and
Yes.
oh, look at those scallops. They are happy guys.
They're happy. And so one thing that you can keep in mind too is whenever you're cooking scallops or any type of fish or anything
Yeah.
on the grill or out of a pan, if it doesn't want to release, it's not ready yet.
Okay.
So
this
that
is such a valuable lesson. And I remember the first time I seared salmon, and I was afraid to do it.
Right.
And I was told, leave it alone. We tend to play with our food in the pan. Why we do that, I'm not sure. But maybe it's
Exactly.
a security thing or whatever. And that when it's ready, you kind of give a little test. And when it's ready, it's
it'll come.
confidence,
It'll-
courage.
Patience too. That's the other thing. Everybody gets
Patience,
to see they're ready.
I'm still working on that
They're ready to
virtue.
eat.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to turn these down
Beautiful.
just slightly, and I'm going to let
And
these rest down in the oven a little bit.
Okay, so from here, once they've been seared, they're going to finish in the oven at what, 350 at home?
Sure, at home.
Okay.
Yep, and I'm just going to leave them in there just for a minute or so.
Okay. Okay, we've been busy cooking in the kitchen, and now it's time to plate up. Here's the first course. What are we doing,
So
Chef?
I like to leave it a little rustic. We're just going to lay it right here in the middle of the plate.
And once again, we sauteed those mushrooms, and then while they were still warm, toss them with that sherry vinaigrette, frisee, cherry tomatoes. And we had a little friend come out of the oven here that we wrapped earlier in phyllo.
Correct.
And this is our first course. So now we're ready to plate the main dish. And where do we begin with this, Chef?
Well, we're going to start with a little bit of our sweet onion cream.
I so can't wait to, oh, look how much fun. And see, the white oblong plate is the canvas for your work. You can have so much fun with the shape of a plate. How pretty are those? There are scallops. And they're on their little onion cream sauce.
Yes.
And in great company with the fennel sausage.
The fennel sausage, correct. Bonnie, we've taken some Lewisburg apple cider,
Yes.
and we've just reduced it down almost to like a syrup.
Because it naturally has sweetness, it does get syrupy. You just put it on the cooktop and let it reduce down and get this consistency. So now we have a syrup.
Yes. So we've just taken some Marcona almonds and have just lightly sauteed them in a little bit of bacon fat.
Okay.
And then we just add some fennel fronds
Look at
right
these
here.
little guys. Because there's fennel in the sausage, and so in keeping with that flavor, you added the fresh layer with the fronds.
Correct. And a nice little color and a nice garnish.
Gorgeous. Okay, we're finishing up the plating, Chef, because what would dinner be without dessert?
Absolutely.
What do we have here?
Well, right now we're getting ready to serve you some brown sugar ice cream.
Oh my. What are we having with the brown sugar ice cream?
We are having our hazelnut
Biscotti.
Biscotti,
And
yes.
it's chocolate.
And it's chocolate.
And
yes.
that's my favorite.
And we're going to make it this affogato style with just a little bit of coffee over the top.
Oh my goodness. So we have coffee over the brown sugar ice cream.
Yes.
I think it's time for us to go to the bar and pair the rest of this
And
up
try it,
and
see
then
how
eat.
it
Chef,
tastes.
thank you for
Thank you,
inviting
I
me into
appreciate
your
it.
kitchen. We've just been in the kitchen at the Webster House preparing a 3-course signature dish with their executive chef Matthew Arnold. We have 3 flavor profiles, what to drink with these delicious courses. We're talking to Jason Rubis, restaurant manager, for the answers. Okay, Jason, let's begin with course number 1.
Sure.
The marinated goat's cheese wrapped in phyllo. What are we going to serve with this?
Well, Bonnie, welcome, first of all. But I would love to say, I would do a classic pairing
Okay.
of Sauvignon Blanc, which we're going to use the Pascal Jolivet Sancerre, which is a region, and it's 100% Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay.
That is aged in steel and is absolutely delicious, crisp, grassy. It just goes wonderfully with this dish.
Okay, so we're going to pair the first course with the Sauvignon Blanc from
Yes.
France.
Yes.
And because it's in steel, it's going to be really crisp and fresh.
Yes, and it just pairs wonderfully.
All right, we move from the first course to the main course, which, as you know, is the sautéed scallops. What should we be drinking with that?
Well, Chef sort of played with that one with the fennel sausage and stuff, so it made it a little bit tougher to pair something with it.
He did that
So,
just for you.
Just for me.
Just for
So
you.
what I did was a Pinot Noir as a classic pairing with scallops also, but with the fennel sausage is absolutely just delicious. Nice cherry hints, just herbal flavors that come out of this Patson Hall. I believe it's a 2010 Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir, and it's just pairs with it just fabulously.
Okay. Now for dessert. So we're having an ice cream, and what would you suggest to go with that ice? A brown sugar ice cream.
Yeah.
Okay, what
That's
should we drink?
Another challenge there.
Yes, it is.
So I sort of punted on this one.
Okay, you're forgiven.
Here at the Webster House, we love to do as much local as possible. So one of our purveyors we use is the Roastery, just down the street on the boulevard, and we have made our own blend of coffee, and it just pairs just wonderfully with that brown sugar caramel.
All right, coffee and brown.
Coffee and brown
That's
sugar.
kind
Yeah,
of-
I mean that's what I had to
happening.
go with on that one.
You did,
Yeah.
and you did mention that for dinner service, you are happy to prepare that with a French press.
Yes, we are.
So you're going to have the best of all possible worlds for all 3 courses. And now we need to take the dish, and we need to taste the pairings,
Yeah.
and go to our celebrity taster.
Wonderful. The
and-
pressure's on.
The pressure's on. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Bonnie.
Hello, I'm Bonnie Rabikoff, and we have been in the kitchen at the Webster House preparing signature dishes. We went to the bar and paired them, and to taste this preparation and the pairings, we have CEO of the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art, Julian Zugasa-Goitia. I'm always so impressed with
No,
actually,
totally.
It's your last name. But thank you for taking time out of your
Thank you.
very busy schedule to come taste. And Chef and Jason, what have you prepared for our celebrity taster?
Well, for our first course, we have a marinated goat cheese wrapped in phyllo with some frisee, some wild mushrooms, some tomatoes, and a little bit of warm sherry vinaigrette.
What should we drink with that, Jason?
You should drink the Pascal Gillier Sancerre, which is a Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay, and what else are we feasting on, chef?
For the second course, you're going to be having some pan-seared scallops with some sweet onion cream, some fennel sausage, some fried Marcona almonds, and a little bit of cider reduction.
Okay.
What shall we drink?
We are going to have the Patson Hall Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir.
Sonoma Coast,
Yes.
too.
All right.
Great.
We're going to do this. Thank
Enjoy.
you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, Julian.
So we should start with
We can start with
this delicious
the
salad.
oh yes. You know I love goat's cheese, and overnight they marinated this goat's cheese.
So it's marinated.
Yes, with olive oil and pepper and some herbs. And I love phyllo. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Nice.
And the paste is so light.
Oh, it's heaven. Now these mushrooms are wild mushrooms that he has sauteed. You know, they are not afraid of clarified butter here. And that's a good thing, because you can't get that kind of flavor from anything else. Here goes a mushroom.
And what's beautiful, Webster House looks like a museum.
I know.
And I can never come without taking something
We already got in
downstairs.
trouble. That's
Exactly.
making the purchase. All right, now we're supposed to taste the Sauvignon with this, and so to your health and to life.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. That's that. Oh, he's right.
It's really fresh and
He
crisp,
said
very
yes,
crisp. It's
he
very
said
crisp.
It was aged in stainless steel, so we don't have anything oaky, but we wouldn't want to with this dish.
No, it's
That's heaven. France does know how to make wines. What do you think?
totally. It's really good.
It's really good. Okay, now I know you're going to want more of this, but would you mind tasting your scallops?
I'm gonna.
Or you have to have
one
another bite.
last,
Y'all
one
right
last
then.
bite
Okay,
because it's too good. You
That
cannot.
is amazing. I'm going to go.
Now
home
that
and
we
make
have-
this. I'm going to make.
So you got all the secret ingredients
Yeah,
and
well,
all the
you know
rest.
what? Part of the show is, here's the deal. The chef has to share the recipes. And so these recipes are going to be up on the site.
It's great because it can be an appetizer, but it could also be almost an end dish,
main-
a
yes.
main course or light
It
salad.
could be.
Late at night after a show.
Well, you know, they have a wonderful neighbor with the Kaufman.
With exactly, well, that's what
Center.
I could imagine, coming after a good performance and just having a very light dish and with a little bit of this Sauvignon
So,
Sancerre.
you know, now we have to try the second one.
Yeah,
Scallops.
so the scallops and the interesting pairing with the sausage, fennel
And
sausage.
I would like for you to know that the sausage is made here in Kansas City. And it has fennel in it.
But the combination of flavors is delicious.
That's amazing. Do you know what tastes sweet here? They took fabulous apple cider and they reduced it to the point of being a syrup. Look how that works with the fennel.
Yeah, it really looks perfectly.
I love this apple cider reduction. I love the almonds. I love the fennel. This is amazing. So you could have
And the
this
presentation is beautiful. Also, I think this would work very well. Also, like a shared appetizer. You know, you're coming after a performance, and you're two. I can see it very well, Tasha and I just sharing this, and a little this salad. I would not share. I would not all by myself.
salad belongs to you, but you would share this. I think that's part of the fun of eating. And now, instead of getting a big plate of something and just eating that big plate, now we are into the tapas mentality, if you will,
Totally,
or
no?
shared plates, and you can enjoy several flavors all within the course of one evening.
That is a trend that you're seeing, not changing and going in various restaurants. Also, the size of portions are starting to become more reasonable and manageable.
And I'd rather that they were putting more of the effort and if you will, the costs into finer product and less of it, and it's more appreciated. So I understand you have food news going on at the Nelson Museum. You've had some changes. You're about to have some exciting experiences with food.
Totally. So we're preparing for this World's Fairs exhibition that opens this spring and mid-April. And the World's Fairs was really always a celebration of innovation, of technology, of the newest products. So a lot of food was also introduced, like popcorn was introduced at a World's Fair, cotton candy first introduced at a World's Fair. So we have a lot of things to offer. And our new chef, we just hired Daniel White to join us. And I think you featured him at one point.
No, Daniel White, good selection. He was at one time executive chef of Trezo Vino, so you're getting some great talent. I know he's following in some big footsteps there,
Totally.
but Daniel will do it. He's got it. Good for you.
So we have given him the challenge also to travel to cities that had World's Fairs and to feature those menus. So we'll have menus that will take you to Turin's World's Fair, to Paris World's Fair, to Chicago. So he's working right now on that imagination on how to put those different menus together.
So in
it's gonna be
addition, now is this is going to be on the grounds of the Nelson?
during the
Yes?
exhibition on the grounds of the Nelson, indeed.
Okay.
We'll have a pavilion outside.
Okay.
The pavilion is just an architectural folly, a little bit the cherry on the cake of this exhibition, where some programs will happen. But the exhibition is really inside in our normal exhibition spaces, and the food that you will develop. It's in Roselle Court, where we had our last tasting together.
Okay, all right. So exciting food things for you at the Nelson as well,
Indeed,
with a
always.
brand new chef who is noted for his creativity. He's young and,
And
he
he's
is,
very young and already
he is-
noted.
and already has established a reputation for being creative. So that's happening. The World's Fair, where we will also be celebrating the foods that have been typical
Exactly.
with World's Fair. All right, well, you're not finished yet. You just, you thought you might be. We actually have dessert for you in case you haven't had enough to eat. Wait a minute, did we test the peanut?
I tasted it, but it's great.
You did or didn't? You did? Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's what they chose.
No, and it works very well.
Yeah.
It doesn't overpower it. It's really...
No, it doesn't overpower it.
No, because of the very different flavors, you have to have something that is both light, but at the same time, very subtle.
Well, they had a challenge. The challenge was that it had to work with the fennel, the scallops, and the onion cream sauce. I forgot to tell you, the white sauce that's
It's
there
onion cream sauce.
is onion cream sauce that chef grilled onion and then reduced it with some cream and a bay leaf and came up with this onion. I just need to taste this by itself. He's right, that was amazing.
It is amazing.
Because onion gets sweet as it is caramelized. So we have sweetness from both the reduced apple cider and the cream sauce. And speaking of sweet, I think it's time for us to have dessert. Okay, Julian, you've had the first course, you've had the second course, but what would dinner be without dessert?
Totally.
Okay, so gentlemen, what have you prepared for dessert?
We have some brown sugar ice cream with a little bit of hazelnut biscotti. And also there's just a little bit of coffee in this pot if you care to pour it over, which I recommend.
Is that a recommendation?
You will recommend?
Yes, it's very
Okay.
good.
Of course we'll do that.
And you actually paired coffee with the dessert, and what are we drinking here?
You're drinking the roastery blend that we actually made ourselves here in-house. And it's just a great partner. They're right down the street, and we love to use as local as much as possible.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much. This has been wonderful.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so
right.
much. It's just amazing. I'm still
How about this?
hesitating to start tasting because I have still...
You don't want the goat cheese to go.
Exactly. All the flavors of the sausage and the... Oh,
The
cookies
onion
and
cream, the onion cream was huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you liked it. It's one of my favorite sauces.
I more than liked it, and of course I was making it now.
Sure, we'll pass it along.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
so
Thank
much.
you,
We
Chef.
appreciate it. Enjoy.
Okay, you know we will. All right, you've got to taste this ice cream. I'm a huge ice cream fan.
Well, and I'm a
Huge.
fan of rotisserie too. You know, we have also our own blend for the Nelson Atkins, and it's
I mean,
amazing.
I did know that.
Yes, and I'm sure you tasted it when we were together.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. They've been a wonderful corporate member of our community. Yes. Brown sugar ice cream. Oh my goodness.
But with the coffee touch, takes it to another level.
It takes it to another level. Oh, and the texture of this, I am very, very picky when it comes to ice cream. It better not have
Really?
less of chemicals in it, because that's not what ice cream is.
Of course.
This is the real deal.
This is the purest.
Okay, we need to take a sip of that.
It's almost like a cloud.
That's
You're eating a
that's
cloud.
That's a good description. How nice is that? I understand Shirley Hillsberg was one of the people who helped, you know, they blend the coffee specifically off. This is a custom blend for the Webster house, and they got just the right amount of depth of flavor for that coffee. I have to have another bite of this. That's amazing.
And with the biscotti, if you dip it a little bit, this is
I do that.
total indulgence.
But here's the thing about biscotti. It's not too sweet, and it's crunchy because you gotta have the texture, yes? Yummy, yes?
I love texture.
This has been,
And this biscotti is amazing.
it's amazing. It's chocolate and hazelnut, and it's, you know, everything is made in-house here.
You know, I love biscotti for breakfast, actually.
Okay.
Oh, this is
coffee.
coffee and a
You'll have all the
biscotti
sugar and caffeine to last
for
you
the
throughout
whole
the
day. For the whole day, yes.
Oh, Leon, I want to thank you for taking, I know how busy you are. I want to thank you for taking time out to be our celebrity taster once again. You know, you were on demand. They requested, and you know, you
Wow.
rose to the occasion, which you're doing all the time, every day for us at the Nelson
Well,
Museum.
thank you.
Thank you for being there to provide the leadership for this world-class institution in Kansas City. We're so happy we're in your hands.
Well, thank you.
So here we are in the cellar at the American Restaurant, and we're going to be talking about how to deliver the best flavor from each bottle of wine, from opening it to decanting it to selecting that perfect wine glass. To help us with this information, we're going to go to the Managing Director of Marquis Selections, Chris Cribb. Chris, thank you for being with us in the cellar
Sure.
again.
Great to be here, Bonnie. I brought my Marquis Classic Riesling.
Yes.
So Riesling's that off-dry style. The first glass that we have there for the Riesling, you can see it's a longer, slender glass.
I can.
These are...
Why?
Because what you're trying to do is to concentrate the aromas. So you very much like if you had a champagne glass, you're trying to concentrate the aromas. You know, the traditional champagne glass is a flute.
It is.
a tall flute, and so that brings the bubble up. But this, with the Riesling glass, you know, it's a little. You can see the difference between this and the Chardonnay glass.
The sweeter it is, the narrower the top, maybe?
It's a little bit
Not
like
yet,
that.
not
It's really
necessarily.
more the grape style.
Okay.
And so if they put things on a grape chart from lightest to heaviest, and you know, as you see the grapes go through and you look at the different styles, you know, your Pinot Grigios are over here, your Chardonnays, your
Yes.
Viogniers are over here, and that's kind of the way the glass pairings
Okay.
go. So you're going to probably want to take and have your taller, slender glasses for your lightest wines. If you look over here to our red wine glass, you
All
can
right.
compare it in size to our white wine glass.
Okay.
We can
There's
see-
a difference.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of size difference. This is made for the light, small white, or small
Red.
bowl red. And so this is kind of the universal everyday wine glass for Riedel. And then, you know, we've got a couple others we can talk about.
Tell
in a
me
second.
why we're getting the bowl wider as we become, more intense flavor? Why are we doing that?
Well, from a scientific standpoint, what Riedels went about doing once they became kind of the
Riedels.
kings, of the wine glassware area is that they said, okay, we want to scientifically go, how does the grape express itself? And what is the way that we can show that more? And number two, of how much area you're giving it to be able to spin and to move in there. And number three, you know, it's also a matter of how it goes on your palate, because you don't want the wine to go way back on the back side of your, you know.
Oh,
to go
okay.
in
So
your
it's
mouth.
how it enters your mouth.
Yeah, so let's start with the Riesling here real
Right.
quick, and we'll swing back here.
Okay.
So if you can join me here.
Okay, now, because it comes up, what is that going to mean in terms of at the moment that the wine hits my mouth, where's it going to go?
It should go towards the front of your mouth
Which is where our sensors are for
Yes.
sweets.
for sweet, which is, you know, why a lot of people are perceiving kind of
Okay,
hits the front part of that tongue there.
I knew about the air part. I didn't know about how it delivered the wine to your mouth. And so this is specifically designed to deliver it to the front of the mouth
Yes.
where sweet is detected.
Yes, yes, it is. And the other thing,
Very good.
You know, we've talked a little bit about crystal versus
We have
regular
to-
glass,
yes.
and you know, I think this is a good time to use this as a play. When you're talking about crystal, the nice lip that you have on crystal, that also puts it and delivers it to a different part of your mouth than a large, heavy, thick, thick glass. Like if you go into, you know, a big diner on the side of the road, they have those big, thick water glasses.
Yes, they do.
You know, that's gonna make it go into the middle part of your mouth, and you're
Yes.
gonna miss the sweet spot on your tongue.
Yes, you are.
So that's
Okay.
Riesling that we started off with there.
Got right to the sweet part of my tongue.
Now we're going to hit the Chardonnay next.
Okay.
And we're going to, you know, we see that this gives you a little bit more room to move it around in the glass.
Okay, we want a little more air here.
We want a little more air. So this one's got a little more of that tropical, kind of that.
You're right. It
lemon
went further
lime.
back in my tongue. Okay, so the tart, it hit right on my tongue where we're supposed to detect tart.
Yeah, where you get that tart and you
No
get that,
idea, Chris.
the back side where you also do the tannins. But this doesn't, I mean, it's a white wine that doesn't have
Doesn't
very
have
much
that, but
tannins.
boy, it sure registered the tart.
Right, and so as you look at putting the wrong wine in the wrong glass,
You're not gonna get the-
you're going to get the wine delivered on the wrong part of your palate too. So
Okay.
so,
So moving on down the road here.
now
Yeah.
we're going to go over to reds.
Okay, we're at
and
red.
what I've set up for the red experiment here is to go with 3 beautiful glasses. We've got number 1 beautiful glass that I might have served at some point or another.
Okay, why have you chosen this? And sometimes if you're serving large crowds, plastic ends up happening.
This is a fine plastic tumbler.
It is a fine plastic.
It, you know, as opposed to some of the styrofoam cups and things.
That's
this,
never going to work.
no, this is fine. But what I wanted to show you is this is the same wine delivered in 3 different glasses.
Oh.
So what we're going to kind of go through is how does the glass really affect what you're tasting.
Okay.
So
Okay.
first we'll cheers to our plastic
Tell me
friends.
what we're having for plastic.
Yes, this is a Spanish wine. This is a Bordeaux style blend. So this is the Aljibes, which is 2005 blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and Cabernet Franc.
Wow. Okay.
So-
Some of our favorites.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're going to try it in our plastic glass. Went further back in my throat.
So this is, you know, specifically made for any red wine.
Okay.
And then the third glass that we've got is the Bordeaux glass. So
Okay.
now
Yeah. Yes.
we kind of give it gets a little more easier to smell something from this glass
Okay.
because
Just like my Chardonnay, not just like it, but it was delivered to the front of my tongue. Okay. And you know what? You're right. It tasted like 2 different wines. Wow.
and it's just as simple as the glass. And so now if we go to
Okay.
the third,
Okay.
this is the Bordeaux glass.
So we're getting a lot of air in
Get a lot of
here.
air to it. Really allows you to get your nose into it to
know
bring
what?
that nose out. I think that
Honestly, it smells different. The nose is different. Same wine, different glass.
it really starts to allow it to
Doesn't
bring
it?
out more of
Yes.
a darker fruit flavor. You get some secondary kind of spice notes to it.
What is the ideal glass for this wine?
The ideal glass for this wine that's set up that we have on the table is this glass. And it's really meant to be able to, and I think it does the best job of allowing it to get air.
When you make a decision to decant, what are the determining factors for that decision?
Sure. So, you know, we're here at the American Restaurant, and one of my favorite places in Kansas City, and they do a great job, Jamie Jameson here, about trying to take one of the ways you do decanting is for young red wines,
Yes.
because it is it's not ready. It's not as aged as it properly should be. And decanting allows it to get that more oxygen to kind of smooth off, to open up and air out.
So that's one reason.
One reason.
And we should mention here at the American Restaurant, again, one of your favorite places in mine, they have a cart of stunning decanters of all shapes and sizes. And Jamie Jameson spends a great deal of time matching the wine with the perfect decanter to deliver the best flavor, to your point.
It is amazing.
It's
I mean,
amazing.
when you talk about decanters that are up to 6 feet tall, there are some.
That's
really
serious.
Stuff. I don't necessarily even have those in my house, so I just brought a real simple one for us to use today.
Okay, so the first time you might make a decision to decant is a young red.
Young red.
And then
second
what
area
else?
would be
Yes.
something that you've had in your cellar.
Yes.
I think that usually anything that I've had for over 3 years, and I've tipped it up, it's going to have sediment to it.
Okay.
And or if you buy it and it's a little aged, this is a 2005, for
Okay.
example. So this is
So you
now
would-
6 years old. It's had enough time on its side that you would go ahead and you could decant it so that you don't get that extra sediment in the glasses that you're giving to
Is it usually more you're decanting a red than a white, or whites also if they've been around a bit?
You'll probably want to decant and look at decanting some of the whites, just if you see any particulates in it.
Okay.
Because you have
Hold
the-
it up
yeah,
to- yeah.
hold it up to the light. Just take it. I mean, simple math to look at it. You see crystals. If there's any tartaric crystals, you don't want those in your glass.
Mm-hmm. No, we
so
don't.
you probably want to go ahead and decant those
Okay.
out.
So let's talk about how you do that.
Sure.
Because I know there's just a science to this too.
Well, I just opened this bottle here a couple seconds ago, and what I'm going to do with this one is this is the simple part of it. I really am just trying to get a nice pour going so that it's hitting the side, so that as I'm bringing it through, I can see. I've got some bright lights here, so I can kind of see through the side if I'm getting any particulates.
So you're looking for sediment, and you're going down the side and letting it have some space to travel.
Yes.
So this is the way to decant in order to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish.
Yes, and if I could pour a little bit more in there, but if I were in a darker spot, I would have a light, usually a candle on this side, so that you could see through the bottle.
Chris, you've shown us how to decant in this kind of container. There's
Absolutely.
more than one option for decanting. Please show us.
So this is another tool.
Okay.
This is
I call it wine toys.
Yes.
Yes. It's
the
wine toy.
Venturi.
Venturi.
And
Okay.
the Venturi is a personal aerator.
Okay.
So this has probably gotten into somebody's stocking that's watching this, hopefully. And what happens is this is put over glass, and the wine is poured into and through it, and it makes
Oh, I see. I can see the air
whistling
coming.
sound.
Yeah, I
Yes.
can see the air going
so
in.
if you look inside of it, what you would find is that it's got 2 holes, and the 2 holes, when you look at it, give it extra oxygen, makes it kind of make a whistling sound,
Okay.
and it actually mimics the whole process you would have of decanting a whole bottle. So I thought
All
I'd
right, so you can do this by glass.
by glass.
Okay.
So I opened up this one bottle. I'm pouring it this time from the decanter, but if you would have just poured it straight through that,
I see.
you would have given it extra oxygen, and you're doing the same thing that I'm doing right now by having it go through those little 2 pipes.
So
So-
this more by glass, and that more for serving a multitude of folks. Okay.
And so now, then I went ahead and I just
Because we did not decant this the first time we tasted
No,
it.
we did not.
No, and
So-
now we're going to taste the advantage of decanting.
So we've
Okay.
done now. We did the 3 glasses to begin with, and now we have the 2 glasses that have been decanted.
Okay.
So why don't we talk and take a taste of this
Okay.
small
So
glass
this
here?
has been the individual
personal aerator.
Yeah, our personal aerator. It felt like it opened the flavor got. I don't know if I want to say bigger, but more open in my mouth. Is that?
It's not, yeah.
What am
I
I-
think it's not as tight. I think it's actually given it just enough extra that it's some of the tannins that would be on the outside are kind of smoothed off.
It's smoothed off. That's
Yeah.
it. I prefer this based on what you did.
Good.
Okay, all right. And now this is more the traditional.
The traditional decanting.
I think I prefer the personal.
Well,
Why? Because it just had got more air, or
probably because it got more air. That's also what you're going to find for personal taste in terms of where the glasses, land those wines on your mouth. That's going to be a little bit different with them.
that's true.
But I think that if if you compared these with the wines we tasted earlier,
Yes.
you'd see this progression of close to open.
Yes.
And that's really why, places like the American here say, a red wine, a young red wine, or even a wine that's had enough age,
Yes.
will benefit from a little bit of that decanting.
I agree, and also, obviously the care you take with serving and storing and opening and closing, but even the selection process. Let's just talk about that a little bit. Marquis Selections. That's part of the title. It's there for a reason.
It is.
It is.
And, we've done a very good job of trying to find unique wines, wine types, wine regions, and varietals that have a great value for their money. So we're trying to find you not the $50 vineyard in Napa,
Right.
but the next $50 vineyard coming from somewhere else across the world that we can give you for $25.
There you
So
go.
I'm proud to say that everything that we've got is hand selected, that we know is small batch winemaking, and really all the winemakers have a green, sustainable focus that
So
is a real
appreciate
big
it.
tie to what we're doing.
So appreciate. Where can we learn more about your portfolio?
Sure. You can find us on www.marquis.com. You can also look us up on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube.
Until we're back in the cellar again.
Well, thanks for indulging me with a few of my wine toys today.
Loved it. Thank
All right.
you.
Cheers.
Cheers.